So I just got back from seeing Joker, and I really, really love this movie. I thought it was really cool how the movie plays out in a way that makes you empathize with the character. You really see everything that Arthur goes through from the beginning and onwards, and you can tell that this character, he has had it pretty bad already before the movie even starts. There's a lot of exposition there that you can see being shown on screen, and it really pours out on screen. I really love the way this movie was shot. The cinematography was amazing. The colors, the lighting, the tones, the color grading. I love how the film can appear dark but yet colorful at the same time. I also thought that the pacing was really well done. For the most part, it felt like it was a movie that I could probably watch a few times and not get tired of it and notice something new. There was so much going on in every shot. I would always scan around the different environments and the different scenes to see if there were any sort of Easter eggs in there somewhere. I love the direction that they went with tying in Thomas Wayne and how he became such a pivotal character in the film. The first couple of scenes were really interesting because we got to see more or less what Arthur goes through on a day-to-day basis. We see his work, we find out his mental conditions. So I also like that there were times where Arthur would appear to be losing his mind and like he just wanted to snap. Like when he was talking to his boss, for example, and his boss was lecturing him about what he can't do. And I think anyone that has ever really gone through life in general and has always had bad experiences with people can sort of empathize and relate to what Arthur says. I thought it was interesting, and I didn't see it coming either, but it made total sense how, with the woman that lived next to him in his apartment, he imagined her and he created in his mind that she was with him, supporting him along the way. I thought it was really interesting, and it made total sense too how, with everything that he was going through, he created a support system in his mind. And what's interesting as well is when she tells him to leave his apartment, we really don't know what happens to her. Does he end up killing her or does he just leave her alone? I want to know what you all think. I sort of felt like he would eventually lash out at his mother for all of the secrets that she was keeping from him. And the hospital scene was really interesting also because it kind of brought things to full circle. After watching the trailers that were released a few times over the past months, I thought it was really interesting to see where they put those scenes in the movie and where, like when I was watching the trailers, I kind of imagined where are these scenes going to be placed in. So the movie really does focus a lot on him becoming Joker. We really didn't see him in full suit and everything until pretty much towards the end. The movie did leave me wanting more, which is always a great thing when the movie does that. I thought it was really interesting to see Bruce Wayne in there as well as a child because we already know how that plays out over the years, with Batman, because the relationship between Batman and Joker is an iconic one. And it's really interesting when you see two of those characters on screen at such an early age in both of their lives. Also with Thomas Wayne, I love how the movie hits you with a pivotal moment where we see and we are led to believe that Thomas Wayne is Arthur's father. And of course, the only people that are denying that fact in the movie, when you think about it, Thomas Wayne and I want to say who is supposed to be Alfred, him being a politician and always trying to say and do the right thing, carrying that type of character in him, it would make total sense if he were to go back and manipulate records in Arkham and try to, make it seem like it really is all a lie. So it's almost like we are given that choice whether to believe Arthur's mother, who is led to believe that she is crazy, or believe Thomas Wayne, who is supposed to be this type of character that is always trying to say and do the right thing in the public eye, and of course wouldn't want anyone to know about Arthur, and of course his mother Penny. If there's one thing that I kind of wish would have been different, would maybe have more of a riot after he shot Murray. I thought of course there was already like protests and rioting going on outside the studio and in the city, but I wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see more mayhem and just more chaos and everything. Of course, he was already in the back of the police car. He didn't get very far after he left the studio. But I don't know. I wanted to see those goons break out Joker, and then them, have more fun with the chaos basically, and go crazy around the city. But who knows? I of course I want to believe that there's more footage out there, right? That we may see, maybe an extended cut of some sort. The movie definitely taps into being graphic, bloody. The movie really played out like a horror film, like a serial killer type of horror film. It reminded me kind of Halloween. Just it really does play out like the origins of a serial killer of a horror film. All those horror films we've seen, and that's what I loved about it. I think a lot of DC fans would agree that this is the type of vibe and the type of tone that they wanted in a DC movie. And I know this is just a solo film of Joker, but if in another world, if this movie were to be built on with, Batman growing older and other villains coming into the picture, that'd be pretty cool. I'd want to see a continuation of this universe for sure. I think those scenes, like when he shot Murray live on television, and when he made those killings on the subway and in the apartment, they were really, really shocking to audiences. I know the theater was pretty shocked at those. The movie does a great job at creating tension, especially in the interview live on television with Murray. You can feel the tension. That was really a scene that gave Joaquin Phoenix an opportunity to really showcase Joker for the first time live on television. Of course, like in full suit. Of course, throughout the movie, we see Joker already coming to life, and we see him. But overall, I definitely recommend you see this movie if you haven't already, and you sat through all of these things that I talked about already and gave away. I definitely recommend you see it. I definitely want to see it again. But let me know what you think about it in the comments section. I want to hear your thoughts on the movie. I want to hear what you thought about the story, the direction that they took it in, and all of the technical things, like the cinematography, the editing, the color grading. Of course, as someone that loves to make films and have studied on all of those things, I always catch those things as I'm watching a movie. It's hard for me not to. I really love the story. And it's a very tragic story when you think about it. And it really does kind of, when we hear the news about like a serial killer or someone that has gone and done something horrific, it seems like there's this pattern that's going on. And of course, I do believe that there's always going to be some type of reasoning behind things. Todd Phillips did an amazing job in this film. Everybody that worked on the movie, of course, did an amazing job. So I don't think a lot of people were expecting for the movie to be that graphic, which I think was really interesting. I know I wasn't. I think there's a lot of things in this movie that, when brought to reality, people will question, what would I do in that situation, and how would I handle it, and what would I think about that person if they were to do that to me. I love how the movie really puts an emphasis on mental health and what it's like to live with a certain mental illness. And with Joker, being such an iconic character in comic books and shows and film, we really see the reasoning behind all of his actions. As crazy as people make him out to be in all of these types of worlds created, he's also very intelligent and always multiple steps ahead of his counterpart. And that's what makes it really interesting overall. There are quite a few scenes where Arthur will be reading something or writing something, and I was trying to read through really quick before the camera was taken off of like the paper, the notepad, or like the document in Arkham. But the camera does a good job, pinpointing to you to where they want you to look at so that you can get those pivotal plot points in there. Joaquin Phoenix's performance on Joker overall, I think he did a fantastic job. He really, really brought his own style to the character. And, I know it's going to be compared a lot to Heath Ledger's performance. And to be honest, like, I didn't walk out of the theater feeling like I needed to compare the two, or like this one was better than the other, or any of that type of thing. I think what really helps separate them both, ideally them being in separate worlds helps, but The fact that with Heath Ledger's Joker, it was already in a later part of, for example, Batman's life. You could use Batman slash Bruce Wayne as a measurement for a timeline here. And here we saw, a younger Joker. So, I mean, even if you were to take this Joker and later on, you could even maybe make sense out of it later on with Heath Ledger's. But at the same time, not really, because I know Heath Ledger's Joker really already gave away like exposition in some of the scenes in The Dark Knight. And of course, there's Jack Nicholson and other takes on Joker as well that you can maybe compare him to. But this was a great installment of Joker. I really loved it. I think Joaquin Phoenix did amazing. I want to know what you think about overall his performance as Joker. Yeah, you really do empathize with Arthur. At least I did, because he was trying to just bring joy to people and make the world laugh and try to make others happy. And he wasn't a bad person, I think. Him having his mental health issues really got mixed in with the way the world was treating him. And not only that, I really loved the scene with Arthur and Thomas Wayne in the restroom. How he just gives this monologue that it was just flat out amazing, and his take on people and him questioning, what is wrong with people. And I've always been this believer that sometimes when we look at people that we believe have mental issues, what makes us appear normal as it is? How do we know we aren't the problem? I think everyone has their issues that they bring into the world. And everyone has their good gifts that they bring into the world as well. Maybe I'll also do a live stream soon where we can kind of just hang out and we can talk more about the movie in depth. But again, if you haven't seen the movie, go check it out. I highly recommend it. I want to know what you think about it as well. I will see you soon.